let's talk about 20 Years to Midnight. Another great Venture Bros episode. This one starts with a spaceship landing in the Venture Bros garden. And this contains possibly my favourite alien in the entire show. I could be wrong. There aren't too many aliens to choose from, and he is pretty cool, if a little bit evil. But Brock has found a whole bunch of old stuff under the bed, all belonging presumably to Rusty's dad that he packed up while Rusty was at college. You get this really cool downward shot of Brock. I don't think it's very important or anything, I just really like this shot. Brock has stolen one of Rusty's old t-shirts, and it looks pretty good on him, even though Rusty doesn't seem to think so.
That's my shirt.
Is it? Found it in that box.
Take it off, you're stretching it out!
And Rusty tries to fog the camcorder, and he's just generally an idiot about this whole thing that Brock wants to show him. With footage of Jonas on the television revealing some sort of secret.
Hello, Rusty.
It's Grandpa! He's alive!
Entrapped in the Phantom Zone.
I knew you'd
just
find
kidding.
this tape.
And Hank and Dean act like idiots, saying, is it Grandpa or is he real? We have to save him. Hank says they're joking, but I'm not convinced, honestly. I don't know if the boys are. Sometimes they do actually act like complete idiots. Doc bitches about his dad, and his bad parenting, as Hank does exactly the same thing.
Once! I told him once I wanted to make videos. Next thing you know, every holiday it's cameras, how-to books.
So yeah, Pop, I've been meaning to tell you, I'm not really that into neckerchiefs.
There is such a similarity between, like, the original Rusty Venture and Hank, and I really do, as you know, Doc says in one of the later episodes, there is such a similarity. It's really good. But I'd hope, I can't see it happening, Hank growing up into this grizzled, wrinkled, old, unhappy Doc. But you never know. Jonas has received some deep space signals.
Mysterious deep space radio signals, you know.
Regarding his latest invention, telling him he must never use it, except once, 20 years from when he makes the recording, on Rusty's 34th birthday at exactly midnight.
That the fate of the planet hinged upon my machine being activated once. On May 4th of your 44th year,
Doc, that's
should I
like
fail to
tomorrow.
live to see that day.
And while he's telling that, and while he tells future Rusty this, past Rusty is trying to play in his study and getting shouted at. And all of these pieces have been scattered around the globe. 4 in total. And it's one of those ones where it would have been really helpful if Rusty, you know, ever looked through any of his dad's stuff, not just to sell it or use it. Because, you know, his dad was an arsehole, but possibly the smartest character who ever existed in the Venture Bros universe. But at this point, the boys meet the Grand Galactic Inquisitor, the big man.
The big man?
Yes, Dean, you're a big man now. Brock and I are...
Ladysmith Black Muffaso!
As he speaks with his super grating voice, vibrating you to your very testicles, explaining that he is here to judge the Earth on some unknown criteria, and that everyone must ignore me.
Which you are to be judged. Ignore my presence and go about your earthly business.
So, the team set off to Spider Skull Island to find the first piece of the puzzle. And Rusty breaks in on Jonas Jr., JJ, going down on a girl he met in Ibiza.
Last week in Ibiza at Fiesta Scientifico.
While Brock beats up the pirate captain once again, who was conveniently stowed away on the X2, and once that went over to JJ, he went with it, and he is now once again the captain of a vessel.
Yeah, geez, you people.
So, after rewatching the video of Jonas, they decide a team-up is in order. Well, everyone but Rusty does, because Rusty hates helping.
And go, Team Venture.
That part always chokes me up.
So the boys take off in JJ's new supersonic jet with autopilot and an arcade cabinet.
Space Invaders! He's got Space Invaders in the lounge! And he's got a lounge!
Doc and Brock in the X1, and Jonas and the pirate captain in the X2. And we get one of those weird Venture Bros pop culture references to Jesus Jones, a 90s pop band that only really had one good hit, but came from a town pretty close to where I live.
Jesus Jones! Ah, now there was a band.
And they discover one of the pieces held in a submarine.
They sound great. We're agreed.
God, wouldn't want to be a submarine at the bottom of the ocean anymore. Not after that whole recent Titanic fiasco. But they find Action Johnny aboard. Johnny Quest.
Are you cops?
Let me handle this, Chairman.
As Jonas gave his father one of the original pieces, and he hid it on this submarine. And Action Johnny is played by Ben Small of Metalocalypse fame, which is also having a movie very soon, and I'm quite excited for. But on the X1, Doc is having a strange dream. One of those weird birth dreams he hasn't had for a while. And the Grand Galactic Inquisitor can read his mind and see exactly what he's dreaming about. So, if humanity fails its assessment, it's all really Doc's fault.
That was a weird one.
Great, you can read my mind.
Ignore me!
At the same time, the boys go after Colonel Gentleman in Morocco, as he's also holding one of these secret pieces.
I forgets my name half the time. Come on, let's look around. Maybe he left like a note or something.
Found him!
They arrive only to find his dead body. Who's killed him? What's happened? They never find out. At least not in this episode. And they never return or ask any more questions about it, because the boys are really shit boy adventurers sometimes. Hank, as Dean starts to look for clues, and Hank just touches the dead body.
Don't touch him!
You can't get cooties from a dead body, Dean. That's a total myth.
Not cooties, Hank. Cluties.
Hank calls Dean Sherlock Homo, which is one of my favourite insults.
I smell dead guy. We don't have time for mysteries, Sherlock Homo.
As they try and figure out what Jonas's device does and is what happened to Colonel Gentleman, and sort of like what's going on in general, because they're just doing what they've been told so far. And as they head through Colonel Gentleman's diaries, they find a collection of strange lists, including toys Colonel Gentleman didn't have as a kid but wishes he had, but they weren't invented when he was a kid, which I just love.
Toys Colonel Gentleman wishes he had when
He was a lad, but they weren't invented yet. Micro Notch. Scooby-Doo monster game.
And as they're going through the diary, Hank starts to mess around with stuff, and in true Scooby-Doo fashion, breaks something and a clue falls out, and they find their missing piece.
a crazy person's diary. You found it! Good eye, Hank.
Back on the sub, a standoff has begun. Action Johnny has pulled a gun on the pirate captain and JJ.
No, sir, we ain't 5-0.
He's in a bit of a drugged up fit at this point, and not really sure what's going on. Fortunately, the pirate captain knows what to do, because unlike most of the characters in this show, the pirate captain's actually lived a little bit. So he talks Johnny down and promises him that JJ can get him more drugs. And after a little bit of a awkward interaction that I don't think JJ feels the best about, they walk away.
Right, he's a doctor, and he can write you a prescription for, anything you might need.
With another piece of the puzzle, leaving just Brock and Doc to find the last one. They head to Impossible Industries.
One Impossible Plaza.
Because the building used to belong to Jonas before I assume Rusty had to sell it due to some sort of debt he was in. And it's gone over to Professor Impossible. And the final piece is buried somewhere in the foundation.
Someone on the inside.
Rusty's got a man on the inside, and he plans on using it to get what he wants. And we cut over to Sally and her abusive relationship with Professor Impossible. And they've now had a child together, as we saw in the first season.
Some fresh air.
Well, all right. I'll allow it this one time.
But Richard refuses to call it by its name, referring it to only to the child. As he doesn't want Sally to go outside the house, he wants her to spend time with robots and take his magic pills. Really great, healthy relationship stuff. So, Sally ends up leaving, but with a squadron of guards. Brock takes him out, easy peasy. And Rusty is left to do his super seducing. He is going to try and manipulate Sally into solving all the problems.
In Rocket.
Where is your boy? Rocky, was it?
Rocket.
Ned and Rocket had gone out on their own to the park to get ice cream. Where they've met up with the boys in the X-Bon, and they're all sort of chilling out until suddenly they're ambushed, and Rocket is left alone in a park in the middle of New York.
Little help?
Which I can't imagine is a very good place for a baby. I don't know too much about New York, but what I have seen would tell me that it's one of the worst. Brock has a go at Rusty for breaking this woman's heart and, manipulating her into, I guess going against her family and husband.
This is just wrong, man, even for you. Look at her.
I have watched you pull a man's eyes from his head and make him dance like a marionette with his own optic nerves.
At least I didn't break his heart.
You don't know that.
Which is, good for Brock. But as Rusty says, he has watched Brock pull out a man's eyeballs and play him like a marionette, which also doesn't surprise me for Brock. And everyone has been captured. Rusty has a go at JJ, because Rusty refuses to admit his own fault in any problem.
You were supposed to be our rescue team.
What do you want from me? You had Super Kill Guy with you, and you still got caught.
And JJ just comments that Brock's the super kill guy. The fact that he got captured meant they really had no chance. They send out a help signal to Helper, and we cut back to the Grand Galactic Inquisitor, who has now found a baby.
Someone left a baby! Ignore me!
And after asking around to see if anyone had lost a baby, we probably got some more minus points on our humanity chart. And after a quick robot battle between Helper and Huggy... Helper disables the chains and everyone gets ready. Sally has a go at Richard for just abandoning their baby.
What could be more important than your family, Richard?
Science?
And not capturing him. At which point he declares the only thing more important than family is, well, science. But it's not good enough. Brock and JJ pin him down and nail gun his face to a wall. But he reveals his superpower and gets really big.
Who you're dealing with, do you? I am Professor Richard Impossible. I can do this.
At which point JJ vanishes to save Sally's life. Brock tries him to a subway car as they drop through the floor below.
Go!
And he is overstretched, smacks back and hits himself in the face. Leaving the fully completed device on the floor in New York at midnight, but nothing happens. The Grand Galactic Inquisitor once again shows up, this time taking a cab to the location.
Who the hell is that?
Long story, just ignore him.
And after not paying the driver, he returns Rocket to his mother. The portal starts to stir, and out steps Jonas Venture Sr.
Papa?
JJ and Rusty's father, and he just one-shots Grand Galactic Inquisitor in the face. Because Rusty's actions had clearly failed humanity. Because, unsurprisingly, Rusty's a fucking arsehole. And Rusty tries to have a family moment with his dad. Poo-pooing the boys for trying to interact. He wears his heart on his sleeve and tries to get his dad to finally care about him. But it's not really Jonas Venture Sr. It's an alien who's taken his face to try and blend in a bit more on Earth.
Boys, quiet. I'm trying to have a family moment here. Where have you been for the past 20 years?
Not really your father, okay?
Jonas Venture probably made a portal to a different part of space. Because Jonas was really that good a fucking inventor. And if was alive in, whenever the Venture Bros is set, somewhere between the 60s and 2019... would have destroyed the world, which really gives me some concern since the OSI still has his brains. Rusty tries to chew out the alien, but he reveals his true form, and everyone shits themselves.
Frick! Alright, fine. You want to see? Here! There! That would have been better if I showed up like that out of nowhere. Look at you! You practically crapped your pants! Except him, he crapped his pants!
Boom, boom.
And that's where the episode ends. But in the after credits scene, we see Rusty debating with Brock if this whole mission was worth it. They don't even have money for a cab fare home, but they save the world, so it's that constant conundrum of Sally and JJ start to bond whilst the pirate captain feels awkward in the background. And I fucking love the pirate captain. He's got to be one of my favourite characters in this show.
Ooh, you can almost hear the old humpbacks a-calling.
Our final shot is Professor Impossible stretched out, blowing in the wind like a really, really fucked up flag.
I've seen some weird stuff in my life, but this...
Huh. Yeah. Should we help him?
And it affects Brock in a sort of emotional way. He feels possibly bad, possibly just like weirded out by Stretch Man, way more than he is aliens, because he's almost definitely seen aliens before at this point working with the OSI. Though aliens aren't the most prominent creatures in this show, so who fucking knows?